Manny the Megatron Don here on the Daddy Dialogue podcast, where we get together and speak about fatherhood, our experiences, and how to become better leaders, better followers. And here I got on the line with me today is Corey Paul, a good friend of mine for many, many years. How are you doing, my friend?
Feeling good, man. I appreciate you hitting me up and bringing me on the show, man.
Yeah, man, this is for sure a passion project of mine, and God has given me a year to finally get this whole vision down of what it is to do something for dads out there, because I think there's a need. But you are a brand new dad. How many weeks now have you been a dad so far?
Brand new, man. 6 weeks. Baby girl just made 6 weeks on Sunday. So, yeah, man.
Name of the baby and name of the Wonder Woman, your wife, who had the baby.
Yeah, so baby girl, her name is Journey. She has like 3 middle names because her mom has 3. So I guess that's going to be a tradition with the girls. It's like 3 middle names. When they went to go get a birth certificate, they had to do like some kind of special thing because they were trying to cut off some of the name or whatever. But, and her mom is Summer. My wife is Summer. We've been together since high school sweethearts, but, married 5 years.
Man, I was, on your socials. I actually saw the video you did with your wife where you guys sort of giving the journey of what God has been doing, in you guys' lives. And people may not know, beyond the fact that you're a rapper, a speaker, a minister at the end of the day, you were a firefighter for a while in Houston, and now
for a while.
The city. Give me some of that journey. How was, talking about the baby journey and her being 6 months, how is it? And I just want to get this out the way because I know eventually other people have asked you, but it's good for our listeners to check this out. How do you feel 6 months? How different was your life 6 weeks ago compared to now being a father?
Bro, man, you cannot, well, put it like this. I could not have prepared for it, bro. Like, it's a whole nother world. It's nothing the same. My homies kept telling me, hey man, get all your sleep now. Store up on all your sleep. Get every piece of sleep you can. Cause, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what it is. Cause, I work for the fire department. We do 24-hour shifts. I'm like, come on, man. I'm fighting fires at 3 a.m. How bad can a little baby be? Man, look. Man, look. Gangster, bro.
It's different. I mean, your schedule's changed.
Traumatic.
So live me through, man. Maybe I would say live me through the last, because I know my day, man. I'll never forget the day we had my son Josiah, and I remember we had a C-section, so it was quick. It took 15 minutes, and literally I saw my baby, and I remember there was a moment in my own life when my life like literally stopped, and it was a culmination of like, you start remembering everything from your childhood to what your parents did, what your mom did. And I know your situation is a little different, but so, I mean, carry our people through, I would say, the last 2 hours before Journey showed up into your life. How was that process? Were you nerve-wracking? Because I feel like wives, they're soldiers. Mine was a soldier. I was actually more emotional, thrown down than my wife was.
That's real.
How was that process for you?
Man, for me, it was crazy because, obviously it's the first time and, it went real fast, so, for people that don't know, the bases they go by, they say centimeters, how many centimeters is the woman. So basically, 0's nothing, 10 is go time. My wife went from 2 to 6 in like, an hour or 45 minutes. I was like, okay, they were hungry. I was like, let me go run and get something to eat. Before I could get out the parking lot, she went from 6 to 9, so it happened like really quick. So I rushed back in. By the time I get in, the doctor's in the room. They like, all right, it's finna be go time, and from there, it was extremely, it was emotional. Like you said, bro, like soon as my daughter came out, tears just ran out of my eyes. Like I couldn't have stopped them if I wanted to. So those 2 hours before she, came out, hands down the most emotional, experience I've ever had, man.
And preparing you after that, and I think it's really important for people or dads in general to know this, because I feel like it's a journey you can take fathers on. So you've been with your wife a while. You guys were high school sweethearts. And then so you were a husband, you know what I mean? You were boyfriend, girlfriend,
Right.
you guys became husband and wife. And now being a father, how has that changed the dynamic of like the family unit? Because I know, I'll be honest with you, man, when we had our son, it was like there was a new layer of life that was added that I wasn't really sure what it was. But then also at the same time, I noticed some things about my wife, I guess, in the process of holding a baby inside her body for that long. How has it changed for you since then, man?
Nah, that's good, man. Yeah, cause so like I said, me and my wife been together a long time, but one thing it showed is like, it's all, you starting over, you know what I'm saying? Because now we have to, we realize, okay, this is how we are boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay, now this is how I am as a husband and wife. Now we have to find we have to find a continuation of our relationship as parents. You know what I'm saying? So now she's a mother and I'm a father. And so we're finding that way, right? So a big part that has changed, and I don't say this in a negative way, it's really a beautiful thing at the end of the day. But man, you realize that it's zero is about you. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how it was for you, Jay, but I know.
I think perspectives change as soon as you have a kid. You go from all these priorities being other things to saying, "Oh my God, I have this little human being that I have to give everything." I remember, man, taking my baby from the hospital, and I was scared. I was frightful in the car, like, "Oh my God, put a seatbelt, like we can't crash." Like it was just.
Yup. Yeah, exactly. See, bro, yeah, little things like that. When you driving, you like, all right now. You know what I'm saying? You looking at everybody like don't nobody play no games. You know what I'm saying? With this baby in the back, you know, it's things like that. And then, you know, as a, you know, we have a biblical marriage. So as the leader of the household, it's this balance of still being, you know, letting the Lord lead you so you can lead, but you figuring out stuff too for the first time. So you want to be confident and everybody know the ship is good, but low key, you really just having to lean on the Lord to, you know what I'm saying, find that strength and that understanding, you know what I mean, at the same time. But yeah, man, the biggest thing is, it's not about you. Our bed is a great example of, how life it kind of is. I have a very small corner of the bed now. I just kind of edge on the side, you know what I'm saying? And Journey and Summer have probably about 80% of the bed, you know what I'm saying? So it's just an example of like, the farther you get in where you fit in and make sure everybody's taken care of, you know?
Yo, if you have to say, and I enjoy this because I know, like you said, being the leader of the household, I feel like when God gives you that opportunity and you lead correctly, your wife is able to serve you a lot better. That's biblical at the end of the day. Some people don't like to hear that, but I think it's so powerful. And speaking of your wife and her serving, what would you say is something, man, you've noticed now about your wife after having the baby that you possibly, you knew about, but now you've seen it in a whole nother, in a whole nother vision? If you have to say, yo, I really noticed this more than ever about my wife. I'll give you an example. When I was married and we had Josiah, man, I saw this peace from my wife, or this patience I've never observed. Like I feel like the peace was there limited on me, but when my son came, I saw this new phase, and it's like almost like God has these things implemented already into ourselves. They're nurtured and ready to be exposed when we have kids. Because there's things about me being a father that I could do better, but I know there's things I learned either from parents or that God really had it instilled. At some point, he knew that when we had a baby, eventually these things would sort of be nourished, and it'll take time and it's a process. But what's one thing you would say about your wife you notice now that you're encouraged by?
Yeah, that's good. No, I got them real easy too. One is piggybacking right off of what you said. You know how it is as a husband. You have to make sure that the patience and the level-headedness of the household is there. And so, I saw this like you said, this patience from my wife with the baby that was just insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't matter 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, the baby screaming. I'm kind of just like, yo, you should need a break. But she's got that motherly instinct going where she's like, oh no, I'm perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like a level of it there. And then also the respect that my wife has for the structure of our family. Like when we were at the hospital, she wanted to make sure I held the baby first here. Make sure I was in the room when this happened. Make sure this didn't happen without me being there. To make sure, she was very, very concerned in making sure that me as the father was there and present for anything that was important. And I knew she, felt that way, but just seeing how adamant she was that was a big thing for me.
Wow, man. I just want to say thank you, man. I appreciate the fact that you're so open and transparent, and I'm overjoyed to hear some of the things your wife has done with you. I think some dads don't have that opportunity, or the mom doesn't know. I think there are a lot of women and moms that do know that, but it's good to hear it from your end, and being that God has just led you where you're doing full-time music now, and God is just transitioning you guys. I know your wife is going to med school, correct?
Correct, man. Correct.
Yeah, being a mom, going to med school, having a husband. If you had to say one thing to a new dad, or maybe, a dad someone who's about to become a father, or a new dad that may be going through struggles of just learning how to be a better father. And again, what would you give them just to in closing? Because I think you're at a really good stage, and I think it could be a real benefit. And I always say, we say on this podcast, there's pivotal parenting moments where literally we can be really pivotal about this moment, and it can set a trend of really setting a foundation for what God wants for raising of our kids. So what would you say is something, just a nugget you could give a new father who may be in transition and it may be a little confused, is not understanding everything at the moment? What would you say?
Yeah, I say this, if I had to just do one thing, and it would be to be there, be present for each and every opportunity that you get with a child, because two things. One, they don't understand all of the things you don't know and that you're wrong about, but they do feel the love and the care and the presence that you have there. You know what I'm saying? So just because you don't got it all, they don't even know about that. They just know, I see this person or I smell this person and I'm connected to them, and it's a peace that comes with it. And by you being there and being present, that I've learned just in over the month and a half that I've had Journey, is that each day and second and hour I spend with her builds a confidence in me to care for her. And so just being there and genuinely desiring to be a better father, God allow your relationship with her to build, or him to build, more and more.
Man, thank you, man. That is such great golden nuggets, and definitely continue to pray for you, your wife, the journey. I know you guys got some things sort of moving in the right direction. I know your wife's school and going into full-time ministry. Real quick, how do people check you? I know you're working on new music as you stay working and moving. Sure. How do people check that stuff out? And when can I know possibly, whoever's checking out the podcast, they might not know, or they'll know who Corey Paul is, but just a little breakdown of who you are and where they can find all your stuff and your music and stuff.
Yeah, man. So, right now at this point, Corey Paul, it's funny because, I've this past year has been a big development, man. So, all my social is Corey Paul Music, Corey Paul, music. And, I started as a rapper, man. I started as a kid from the hood, in Houston, wanting to rap about this stuff that I was feeling. Fast forward several years later, now I'm a young black man who's a father for the first time, a husband, and desiring to take all of the wrong that I didn't understand and all of the right that I did understand, and help other young cats wade through that water. So I do it through music, I do it through speaking, I do it through ministry, and I'm also starting to do it through writing, through a site that I started called Kick the Concrete with my partner Victoria. So yeah, man. So that's who I am. So you can check me out, Corey Paul Music, on social, or check out kicktheconcrete.com, where we trying to tell these stories to build better fathers and husbands and brothers and, family in general.
Well, man, I met you many years ago, and I always remember you by one thing you always say to me, which has been a blessing since the day I got here to Houston. You're always like, "What's up, young king?" I just want to tell you, man, you're a tremendous
Yeah.
encouragement. Beyond the music, just love where your heart is at, my friend, and that's why we'll continue to always communicate, continue being a great husband and an amazing father. And just like many other dads that are listening out there, we'll just continue to pray, man, that God continues to lead. And at some point here, a year or two down, I'll come back to you and see what
Yeah, yeah.
dad process has been, some bumps in the road and what you've learned, because I think
Yeah, for
all
sure.
dads can learn from each other. So thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Jay. You keep me encouraged, bro.
God bless, homie. Have a good one, man.